Alright. Okay, so guys, how's it going? Maddie ICU, take three. Three takes so far. This is my top 12 series that I completed. That are no longer coming out, or like that the mainline story is not coming out anymore, or it's almost done. Like that. There's one or two on here that are almost done. That the actual there's no more chapters. They just like now the physical files just have to catch up and like now I think there's only a couple like one or two for each series, and I'm planning on doing an ongoing series next week. So tune into that too. But first off is Monster. This is a series uh about like this doctor who has to he's like this young prodigy, and he's got and like that there's all this politics going on within the hospital, but he chooses to save this kid patient over the mayor, and pretty much like the patient he saved turns out to be a serial killer. So and like he's the only person who figured out that he's the killer, and like all the other people who figured it out or he tried to get help with, to stop him died. But he's trying to stop this killer, and it's a pretty interesting story. Like it's like a thriller mystery, like suspense type of thing. So like if you're into that type of stuff, definitely check out Monster. And that they're coming out with these perfect editions, and I forget if it's the spine or the cover where it's connecting. And like for some reason I want to say it's the covers, like the front covers that are connected. Like if you line up all the volumes, they're all connected. So that's pretty cool. And it's a series I've just got into recently, and it's done. I'm pretty sure it's done, anyways. Correct me if I'm wrong, like in the comments. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's done. But it's also a fantastic series. As it's again, like if you're into thrillers and suspenseful stuff, definitely check it out. Next up is the Drifting Classroom. Now, now this is another one I picked up like late last year, early this year because I just completed it. But this is another series that it's all like it's like a horror science fiction type of story. Like that's the best way I can describe it. It's like it's horror and science fiction because there's some parts that like a lot of it is definitely a horror. Like it's definitely meant to be like a more like of a horror story, but there's definitely some science fiction in it too. Like this parts where like because it's about this classroom that gets pretty much lost. Like this whole school gets lost, and the well like in the actual world, like it looks like it was just like a like a gas explosion or something. So that people like that the people who don't know think they died, but the kids are still alive and stuff obviously. But there's points in the story where it's like he tries to talk to his mom in the other world, but like his mom can hear him, and that she has to put stuff in certain places to help him out, and it gets cool, but it's definitely like a like a little bit out there, but like it's definitely fun, like if you're into like the horror science fiction things, and I can't really compare it to anything. Like I'm not sure what to compare it to, though. But yeah, like that's an older one, and that they're coming out of those like thick ones, like there's three of those thick ones. They're not too long. Next up is it's by that this series is called Fire Points, and I've talked about it before, but this is by Satsuki Fujimoto, and right now he's probably like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, creator. Like he's definitely up there for sure. Like that's one I've definitely got to think about, but like he's up there because he like Fire Points was his first series he did, and then now he's obviously doing Chainsaw Man. It's that's on a like it's coming back, like it was on a little bit of a break, I guess you want to say. But like he just did a couple one shots too, and that there was a brand new one that just came out on Shonen Jump, and I forget the name of it already, but it's about this guy, like these two siblings that have powers, and like so pretty much like this world is frozen over, and that pretty much almost the entire world's dying out here, and but there's like a certain group of people that have powers, and that's these two siblings are a part of that group of people, and they both have the ability to regenerate. So that's kind of cool, and but the sister dies in the beginning of the story because there was this guy that finds out, and that his power is like fire, and that the fire won't go out until like I'm pretty sure it's like until that thing that's completely distinguished, so like completely dead and like burned to ash, like then the fire will stop. But the brother's power is a lot more powerful than his sister's. So like the brother is still alive, and he's still on fire. So like he's gonna have to find the guy, to stop it, and it's just a good it's a good revenge story. Next up is I Am a Hero. Now, like I Am a Hero is a Sami manga. It's about this guy who is like a manga creator, and like he also has a gun too. Like he also that like in Japan it's a long process to get a gun. Like it's very hard to get one. And like if you do, like it's a long process to keep it. But like he has one, and the zombie apocalypse starts. So like that's a pretty good advantage over other people, like him having a gun. So, but it's a very good like survival one, and like it's like similar to like, The Walking Dead, I would say. Now next up is Deadpool Samurai. Now like this just came out not too long ago, and but it's only a 2 volume series, which I was kind of sad about. But again, like it's a Deadpool series, so like like if you're into like that fourth wall being broken and that type of comedy, then I would say get into it. Like there's not much to say about it other than like it's Deadpool in Japan, so it's a pretty cool one. Next up is Doubt. Now Doubt is like a horror series about this mobile game, and it's again like it's almost like a monolith. That's like like I don't know why that's what I think of, but it's like a monolith, but all these people get together because they were friends online, so they all get together in person to meet for the first time. But they all get kidnapped, and they all have to play the game for real now. So it's a very intense series on finding out who's the person who did it. And like if you're into that type of stuff, I would definitely say check it out. And it's a very short series too. It's like there's 2 of those volumes. I'm not sure if it's still in print or not, but I would say check it out if you're into that type of stuff. Next up is Attack on Titan, and I'm probably not gonna I'm gonna try not to go too deep into this one because this is a pretty popular one right now, and this is one I was like I know that the actual story finished up last year, but I think that there's, and I could be wrong to comment, but I think that there's still like 1 or 2 more volumes to come out if the last one hasn't come out already. But yeah, like I'm also kind of disappointed that that the studio's like, oh yeah, like part 3 is coming out next year. It's just, the final season, part 3. At this point, it's just like call it like what, season 6? I think it would be now. Yeah, it's just called season 6. Right? But next up is Orange. It's like a romance series, and it again that this one is also a mix of romance and science fiction. It's like the best thing I can describe it. It's like a science fiction because it includes time travel and stuff, but it's about this girl who gets alerted from her future self, and she thinks it's BS. Because obviously, like, if you got alerted from your future self, you'd be confused too, but. So she gets alerted from her future self about, like, there's a guy who's gonna come into your class. Like a new guy is gonna come into your class and sit next to you. So she's like, okay, this is, it's just a joke. And then it turns out that there was a guy, like a new kid who, like who came into the class and sat next to her, and that's you kept getting alerted on what to do, and like how to save him and stuff, because that there was some, it talks about some things that, like pretty much the stuff is going to happen, and he's not going to make it into the future, he's not going to make it, and so it's like their job to save him. Like it's like this girl and her friends have to save him now. And it's a very good series. Now, the ending, I kind of wish the ending had more, like, that there was more to it. Because, like, I'm not going to spoil it, but I kind of wish there was a little bit more. Because it's like, okay, they did this thing and now, like, that's it. Like, it kind of just ends right there. But, so next up is actually probably the first, like, it's definitely up. Like it's definitely one of the first, if not the first series I got into in terms of manga, and that's Full Metal Alchemist. And that this is like a shonen series. It's like like a shonen action series, and it's about these two brothers, Ed and Al, who practice alchemy, and that they try to bring back the mom from the dead, and that's in alchemy that's a big no, and that they end up losing their bodies, and they got to get their bodies back now, but and that they're trying to. And there's also this big government conspiracy too that they get caught into, and like overall it's a pretty fun series, and I would totally recommend it for like a beginner. Now, like if you're not really into manga or anime that much, I would always say check out Full Metal because it's definitely a good one for beginners, and it's a great story. And like also like if you just haven't checked out the series yet, check it out because it's awesome. And it's definitely one of my favorite series. Like it's probably my favorite anime. Like A Brotherhood is my favorite anime of all time, and the mangas, like in the stories is one of my favorite stories of all time. Next up is Assassination Classroom. Now, that this is like an action comedy. This is also another shonen series, but it's like an action comedy. It's about this classroom that has to kill the teacher, and it's just like a fun story. Like obviously there's a lot of action in it, but so that the teacher destroyed the moon, and so now it's their job to kill the teacher who's like the beginning of the story is perceived as like this alien, but there's a lot of twist in the series. Now I did buy the box set, so like I owned the whole series and I loved it, and it actually made me cry at the end. Like I was feeling like it was such a good ending, but I'm also like it was a great ending, and I wish that it ended a little bit differently though too, because it was it's like I enjoyed the ending, but I also wish that the ending was a little bit different. So just like as you read it, if you want to read it, watch it if you want to watch it, because this is that great. Like it's like obviously there's a lot of good action scenes, but it's also really funny, and then it gets sad towards the end too. So like it definitely does play with your emotions a little bit. Next up, so a little bit change of pace too. Just like I'm definitely more into like the action stuff and like horror stuff and like science fiction. Like I'm not like I do like some romance stuff, but it's not like I'm not too into it. So Beastars is up next, and so this one it's like technically the last couple volumes haven't come out yet, but it's pretty much like it's pretty much well known that it's done. It's just like like the like physical releases have to catch up, and I can't say enough about it. And like I've talked about this one a lot too on my channel, so I'm not gonna like get super into it. And it's also pretty popular too. Like the anime is pretty big too. I would say like it's not quite on the level of like Attack on Titan or something, but it's pretty. Like I feel like that's a popular enough series where like a lot of people know about it. So I'm not going to go into it, but like it's definitely a good like romance series. And then finally, now that this list, like I'm not really, I'm not really ranking these, but this last one is probably my all-time favorite series, and it's a shame that there's no good animes for it. Like that the only good one came out in the only halfway decent one came out back in the '90s, and then after that, like there's been nothing that good. That they haven't adapted it that well. But that's Berserk. Now, this is like a dark fantasy story. And again, this is like another one that's just, it's super popular. I kind of don't want to go that deep into it because it's like, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know about Berserk already. And if not, watch videos about it and also just read the manga because the manga is like, it's, in my opinion, the best manga ever. And I've been collecting these deluxe editions, which that these deluxe editions have been coming out. They've been coming out, but again, like the story's pretty much been done for the past, how many years. Even though the before he died, that he was working on a chapter. I think they are gonna release that chapter in the final deluxe version. I think like he worked on like I think that he. I could be wrong. So like someone comment, obviously. So don't listen. Like obviously like but like check the comments too. And someone if you do know a comment, but like I think he did like before like Concerning Mueller died, because he died last year. That before he did, like I think he finished like a chapter or two. So like not too much, but like he finished a like he kind of did a little bit, and I think they are planning on putting those two chapters in the final deluxe editions. It's because like I don't think it's enough to cover like a whole volume, but yeah. So like that, this was my list of completed manga that I've enjoyed, and obviously, like if you guys see, like thought of something that is completed, that is done, and that you thought, this is really good, just comment it, and I'll try to comment back to see if I read it or watched it, and if not, I'll say I'll check, like I'll check it out, and I am planning on releasing a top 10 ongoing. It's a series that was still, that I plan on going on for another couple years or so, was like where the end isn't really super near, but see you next week. Till then, peace.